my name is Theresa Reed. I'm known as the Tarot Lady. I am the author of Tarot for Kids, along with the artist Kailey Whitman. And today I'm going to show you how to do a simple tarot reading. So the first thing you need to do is wash your hands. It's really important before you handle your deck that you always make sure that your hands are clean. That way, your deck is going to last a lot longer. And also, there's something about washing your hands that really kind of sets the tone that, okay, I am ready now to do my reading. The next thing, you want to make sure that you have a surface that's also clean. This is why I'm a very big fan of these little reading cloths. You can lay a cloth out, and that cloth then is creating, again, a beautiful space for you to read and to keep your deck clean and from getting dirty. So once you lay out the cloth, you've got to shuffle the cards. And a lot of people ask, well, how do you shuffle? And I always say, in a way that feels comfortable for you. So I find for myself, I just like to do it like this. Just really easy. And also when I shuffle like this, I always feel that's going to make sure my deck lasts longer. Now there are some people who like to get a little fancy. Now if you want to get fancy, you can try this, where they do this, where they mix the cards up. That can work too. I just find, though, this is the most relaxing way to shuffle the cards. And what's important is that you take your time and shuffle the cards thoroughly. Don't rush. Don't be in a hurry to shuffle the cards. Take your time. You really want to give the cards time to come together so you get a good answer. Now, before you start, also, you have to think about, what am I asking? Because it's very important, too, that you have a clear question. When you have a clear question in your mind, you're going to get a clear answer. So what you want to think about before you start really working with the cards is, what do I want to ask my cards today? So for example, the question that I'm going to ask is, what can I expect today? And now we shuffle them up. And while you're shuffling, you want to think about your question. And again, my question is, what can I expect today? That's a fun question, by the way. And that's a fun one to do first thing in the morning. What can I expect today? And then revisit it later and see how the card worked out for you. But anyhow, take your time shuffling the cards. And you want to make sure that you feel they're ready. You might be wondering, well, how do I know if they're ready? Well, there's a couple different ways. First of all, you might just have this feeling inside like, this feels right. That's your intuition. And we always want to trust our intuition. If you feel on some level, this is done shuffling, I'm ready to get my answer, go with that. But sometimes, and this is kind of silly, sometimes you're just sick of shuffling. And if you just feel like, I'm just done, I just don't want to shuffle anymore, well, you know what? That might be your intuition working for you as well. So when I feel that I'm done, what I like to do is I put the cards face down. And then I like to cut it into 3 piles, and I use my left hand. Now, this is an old tarot superstition. When you cut with your left hand is the hand that's closest to your heart. So therefore, the reading comes from your heart. You don't need to do that though. If you want to use your right hand, go ahead, but that's an old superstition and it's really fun. The next thing you want to do is put the deck back together any way you want. And now you can choose a card from the top of the deck, or you can fan it out and choose a card based on whatever feels right for you. Now, when we do tarot readings, we do what's called a spread. And a spread could be a card or a series of cards, and we lay them out and we look at how they go together. When you're first starting with tarot, always start with a 1-card tarot reading. That is the easiest. And by the way, oftentimes all the information you need is in 1 card. So let's go ahead. I'm going to actually fan them out and pull one. What can I expect for today? This card feels right. And the card I pulled is the Knight of Swords. So when you're first starting with tarot, what you want to do is, first of all, look at the card, study it. Right away, you might get an idea of what's going on in this card. We see there is a figure on a horse. They have a sword in their hand. They almost look like they're going into battle, right? So that's giving you your first clue. And that might be telling me, today, you might have some challenges. But the next thing you want to do is grab your little white book that comes with your deck, and we want to look up the card. Why? Because you want to get an idea of what did the artist and the author think about this particular card. And also when you're first starting with tarot, you might be really overwhelmed. So your little book that comes with your deck is going to help you. It's kind of like your backup. Think of it like that. So let's look up the Knight of Swords. And here's what the Knight of Swords says. Make your point. The Knight of Swords rides to the storm, sword drawn and ready to rumble. This card means that you must be willing to speak out, to say what's on your mind, and to make your point. Let the debates begin. This could mark a time when you have to tell someone off. Don't back down. Be assertive. Sometimes this card can represent a person who wants to fight. Don't engage in the battle unless you're sure you can win. So you see that there is something about a battle in the cards. Now, what I recommend then is that you write down that reading in your journal. And at the end of the day, revisit it. Did you engage in a battle? Or maybe if you see a card like this, it might be telling you someone wants to fight. I'm going to stay alert and maybe I'm going to avoid that. So what can I expect today? There might be a challenge. There might be a conflict. I have to be ready for that and ready to act or maybe back away. Super simple, super fun, and not that hard. And that's how you get started with your first reading. Now, if you want to add more cards, that's great, but always start with one card. Really, truly, it's all you need to get the information to help you.